Hello everyone, this is Nelda from Canadian Scrap Sisters. A little while ago I did a video showing you how to make this 3-ring bound junk journal. And today I thought I'd show you how I'm going to make the cover. So one of the challenges that I had when thinking about a cover for this was the holes for the binder rings on the side. And my inspiration for the cover is a junk journal I made several months ago, where the cover I made it puffy with some quilt batting. So this one I stamped with my handmade stamps on some brown paper and then wrapped a piece of cardboard with some batting in between to make this cover. And I wanted to do something similar but using fabric. And so I was trying to figure out how to solve the problem of the rings because I didn't want to punch holes through the fabric and batting layers. So I came up with a solution. This is another 3-ring bound junk journal that I've been making as I prepare for filming these videos. So this one I made the cover using cardboard, just like with this one, and the cardboard was about the same thickness as this cake box cardboard. And for the puffy part, I used a piece of fabric. This was outdoor fabric. Last summer, my sister and I recovered a large cushion for an outdoor swing, and I bought this fabric for it, and I still have quite a bit left over, so I thought it would be good to experiment with. So I think I like how it worked out because the rings are off to the side and they still open and close smoothly, and I get the puffy effect that I wanted. So I did that on the front and back. So that's what I plan to do with this one. And I've picked out the fabric I want to use. It's this pretty light blue fabric that has an almost quilted texture to it. It's not actually quilted, but it has the look and feel of quilting. So I thought that would be nice on the cover. And I cut 2 pieces of cardboard. This is from a pizza box, and they will fit on the front and back covers, leaving I don't know, half an inch or so of the original cover so that it can open and close nicely with the rings. So on this book, I use scrapbook paper to cover the original cardboard cover. So for this one, I've picked this scrapbook paper. I've already chosen some colors I want to use in this journal, and I'll show you my inspiration. It's this vintage piece of trim that I've had for years. I'm not sure where it came from, but I really like the colors, and so this is my inspiration for the colors of this journal, and that's how I came up with this combination for the cover. So to do that, I'm going to take the front and back cover off the journal and cover them with this scrapbook paper. I'll just show you, I'm actually covering them kind of backwards. So normally I would cover this side with the scrapbook paper, but in this case I'm going to cover the inside with the scrapbook paper. And I cut the scrapbook paper wider on this side so that I can fold it over and to cover these holes. And then when the puffy part goes on top, so I'll have the puffy part on the outside, and when you open it, this is what you'll see on the inside. And I made some notes to myself because I was getting confused, because this is kind of the opposite of what I would normally do. So I was writing the dimensions for the puffy part, so the dimensions to cut this cardboard. And then I wrote, this is the front cover, cover this side, because my inclination would be to cover this side. So I'll cover the front and back with the scrapbook paper. And then for the puffy parts, I've cut these 2 pieces of cardboard, and I've cut 2 pieces of batting the same size as the cardboard, and I have 2 pieces of this fabric. So I'm going to cover these with the batting sandwiched between the cardboard and the fabric, and I'm going to glue the fabric to the back of this. And the nice thing about that is that I don't have to worry about glue showing through on the front of the journal, because all the gluing will be on the back part here. I just had to let my dog in. So I was saying that I'll be gluing this down, and all the glue will be on the back, which will be hidden once I glue this, turn it over. Then this will be glued down to the cover. So there's no risk of any glue showing through on the outside of the journal. So to do that, I'll just do one at a time. And I've got my fabric scissors. I'm going to trim the corners, and I'm using my Aleene's Clear Gel Tacky Glue. I think something like Fabri-Tac might work better, but I don't have any of that at the moment. So I used the clear gel on this cover, and it's holding everything together really well, so I think it will be fine. So I'm just going to cut some excess off the corners. With this one of these I didn't cut the excess off. Yeah, it was this one. And when you don't cut the excess off, you just have a lot more bulk at the corners. This one, the front cover, I did cut the excess off, and it just made a much neater corner. So I'm making sure to leave a bit of fabric between the corner of the cardboard and where I cut, because I want to make sure that that's covered with fabric. I don't want the cardboard showing through. So I'm just roughly cutting these corners off. There. and it's not perfectly centered or very pretty, but that's okay. So I'm just going to start with the side. So I'm putting a generous amount of glue because this is thick fabric. I'm not sure if it's upholstery fabric, but it's kind of that weight. So I'm using quite a bit of glue. I'm just going to hold the fabric down, let it set for a second so I'm sure that the glue is holding. Then I'll turn it around and do the other side. So same thing, quite a thick bead of glue. I'll put 2 there. And I'm pulling the fabric quite, like not super tight, but I'm pulling it so that when I flip it over, it's smooth on the front. So you just have to kind of push it over so there's no wrinkles on the front. So those seem to be holding well. And then I'll do this end. So I'll put some glue along here. A couple of lines of glue. And then I'm just tucking the corners in with my fingers and pulling the fabric over and then pulling it towards the middle of the cover. Then just holding it down for a minute to let the glue grab it. There. Nice. And then the last side here. So tucking the corners in again and folding the fabric over and then just pulling it towards the middle of the cover and holding it down for a minute. There. Nice. And then you can see the front is nice and smooth. There's a bit of a wrinkle there, but I think that will work itself out. And I really like the puffiness of it. So I will now do the front cover with the scrapbook paper, and then off screen I'll do the other puffy cover and the other scrapbook cover. So I want to put my glue on this side of the cover, put it down, and I'm making sure there's more space here on the side with the holes because I want that to fold over so that, I'll show you on this example, so that when I glue the puffy part on, there's just a nice piece of scrapbook paper there. So I'm going to use the same tacky glue. There. Just pressing it down firmly. And I'm going to, using my paper scissors, miter these corners as well, but on the side with the holes, I don't want to miter the corner because I want the flap to come in and meet up with the top and bottom of the book cover. So I'm just going to kind of miter cut here and then cut across here, and I'm leaving extra cardstock, extra scrapbook paper. I can trim it up nicely afterwards. So at an angle and then straight across like so. There, and I'm just going to pre-fold my sides. I'll go all the way around and pre-fold them so that once I get the glue on, they'll just fold over easily. There. So I'll just use the same glue. I don't need to use as much as I did on the fabric. I'll just press that down. Make sure it's holding all right. Then I'll do the bottom flap. There, I got a bit of glue on the outside there, but it just kind of rolls off if you rub it. And then over here, just kind of pressing these corners in to make a nice corner. And putting a bit of glue there. There. Nice, neat corners. Okay, and then here, I'm going to have to repunch the holes after I cover this side. So I'm just going to grab my craft knife. So I just grabbed my craft knife because I just want to make a hole here so that when it comes time to punch my holes again, I'll know where they go. You can kind of see through the scrapbook paper if you hold it up to the light, but just to make sure I get them more or less in the same place as before, I'll just poke them with my craft knife. And then I'm going to put glue on this flap. And fold it over. There. So maybe now you can see what I meant about, I didn't want this edge to have the mitered corner. I want it to be smooth, flat, all the way from the top of the cover to the bottom. So left a little extra so that I can take either my craft knife or just a pair of scissors and trim it right along the edge like that. There, that looks good. So I'll have to repunch the holes, and then this was the front cover, and then the puffy part will be glued right on there. So I'll just go off camera and do the other puffy part and the other cover, and I'll let these dry, and then I'll come back and we'll glue them together, and that will be our cover. So I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I covered both the front and back puffy pieces, and the front and back covers. I poked the holes in this one, but I just need to punch the holes in this one. So I'm not sure if you can see in the camera where I marked them with my craft knife. I'm just going to line that up in my hole punch. Oh, the paper's stuck in there. 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 So the last step is to glue the puffy pieces on. So one will go on this side and the other will go on this side. Oh, I think I have this one upside down. There, like that. So I'm just going to use the same clear gel tacky glue and put a generous amount on the back of each of these. There, just kind of trying to match up the corners. And then this one. I think I'll let these dry under something heavy, like a heavy book, until tomorrow morning, and then they'll be ready to put on the junk journal. So this one, I cut the cardboard for the puffy pieces a bit shorter than the covers, because on my prototype I thought maybe they hung over the covers a bit too much, but now maybe they don't hang over too much. Now I'm kind of wishing I'd done it the same way on these, because you can see the paper cover more than I thought you would. So are the covers for the 3-ring bound junk journal. And I'm wondering if I need to change these rings to a different color, or maybe I'll just leave them because they're a nice pop against the blues and greens I've chosen. So I hope you enjoyed that video. What do you think? Would you have done the same thing, or what do you think of the puffy cover? Do you like that, or you think maybe it's too thick? Let me know in the comments. And please like and subscribe. And I think in my next video we'll start decorating the inside of this junk journal. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.